We've made it.
We're officially 1 minute late. We apologize. We were putting on our matchy hats. What do you think of our matchy hats? I think they look good.
I'm happy it's actually a size that's normal for my head, and I don't have to pinch my skull.
So if you're watching this on podcast, you probably can't see our matching hats. We're wearing matching Purina hats. We feed our horses Purina. We like the products. Yes, they gave us hats. My favorite Purina product is the Outlast. It helps keep their tummies happy. So that's my
Which
favorite.
Which is really the biggest thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Like
and it's affordable. I'm all about affordable and stuff that works. What are we talking about tonight? We better open the chat. Who's watching? Hello, who's here? What are we talking about? Oh, Kina's here. Hi, Ellie. Kina and Ellie are here. Excellent. Tonight, we're talking about a lot of things. We have many questions to answer. What are our plans for this weekend? How happy are you?
We're going boating. I'm stealing you away for a couple of days.
Yes. It's so hot. I figured I might as well go sailing now while it's very hot for riding, and it would be perfect for sailing. So that's our plan this weekend. Herman has been catching a ton of halibut. You caught like 9 last weekend?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, between 2 days, yeah.
Yes. So good for him.
So maybe we'll find some more and we'll make dinner. We'll have fresh fish for dinner.
That would be very nice.
That's the idea anyway.
Yes. Okay, first thing I wanted to talk about is office hours, video review sessions. For those of you that are in Strides or Training Scale Masterclass, you know what I'm talking about. Inside my courses, what we do, which is super fun, is that you submit videos of your riding for us to review. And then we do like a group session. We pull up everyone's videos, and Herman.
Yes, I'm in training. I'm in training.
You have to see your eyes. Okay, so he did a video session.
I'm in training to do, what is it? Office hours.
Office hours. He did office hours with me. And it was fantastic because you're like very funny and personable. And everyone was like waving and they were like, oh, we want more.
They like my stories. They like my analogies.
Yes.
Funny stories.
Because you do. You teach a lot through stories and analogies, and that can be really, really helpful. So what was really cool was together we worked with one student, and we worked, do you remember the lady on the chestnut horse?
The chestnut and the gray horse, both of those.
Yeah.
They wrote back that it went well.
Oh, yeah. But specifically the lady on the chestnut horse. And so we worked on her keeping more connection in the outside rein. Like Herman was like, okay, you're doing your serpentines. You need to keep more connection in the outside rein. And she did her homework. And then she submitted video on Wednesday for office hours during the training scale. And it was so cool to see the difference and the improvement, like just from that one little tip that we were able to give her. And then she saw it too. She went and did her homework, and it made a huge difference. So what did you think of office hours?
That was good. It was good because it's different, right? Because I don't have the people there, when we go over it, you watch the video, you tell them, and then they got to go do it on their own. And so you just don't know how that's going to go.
Yeah, it's a different way of teaching.
Yeah.
But I also think it's incredibly useful because in my office hours last night, actually, I'm like a little bit sick and I started losing my voice. Like I literally couldn't talk in office hours. And so the people were like talking a lot more. And just by watching video of yourself riding, a lot of times you identify and you can kind of teach yourself.
Well, that and the other people are watching the same videos and seeing, and then that information, because you plant the seed and then you'll trip over it yourself one day and go, oh, that's what they were talking about.
Yeah. And so it is really a different way and kind of a more like taking personal responsibility for your riding as opposed to just waiting for someone to tell you. But it was cool in my office hours. I was like, well, I don't even need to tell you what to do because you just identified all your problems and have a plan to fix it. And so good for you. But I do really enjoy the office hours, and seeing videos is very helpful because like written questions, it's hard to get a feel. And Herman and I have taught so many people that if we literally see a 2-minute video, we can tell you exactly what you need to work
I
on.
can formulate a plan.
Yes.
Right. I mean, I can, which is what I do when I teach a regular lesson. I watch them do their warm up and then go, okay, this, take it to the training scale. What am I not seeing? What about their body is not letting them achieve those things? And that's what we got to work on.
Absolutely. What else? Oh, one exciting thing. Both of us got new saddles this week.
Frankie's shape has changed tremendously and she's popped up in the front. So we went with the custom Everest, which has got a lot higher wither. There's a lot more room for her withers because I was having to pad up the other one. So I got another custom saddle that has got more room for her withers.
Excellent. And Harvey got a new saddle too. So thank you, Sarah Booth, Custom Saddlery, Aviaire. Those I think are both of our favorite saddles. And saddle is so important because it's like the sandwich between you and your horse. And so it has to fit right and it has to support your position. And it can make all the difference. It can make your life easier or it can make your life a lot harder. So
certainly your horse's life easier or harder for sure.
Yeah. I actually, this week, I rode in a jumping saddle because I was doing some filming and some videos, and it's a lot different riding in a jumping saddle. You should, if you have a really good position, you should be able to ride in any saddle. But the different saddles are designed for a purpose, right? Like a jumping saddle is designed so you can get out of the saddle. A dressage saddle keeps you more in the saddle. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, form to function, right? Those saddles are made, the jump saddle made to help you get up and over so you can get over the fence easy. Now, saying that, I jump in my dressage saddle. I don't care. But then again, I'm jumping, 2.5 foot, 3 at the most, right? Not that big a deal. If you're going to go over, 4 foot and 5 foot, that's a whole other thing.
Oh, here's a perfect question to start with from Megan. My horse is a bit back sore, expecting to be in pain from a previous ill-fitting saddle. What are some things I can do to help him? I've noticed him struggling the most in the canter. He's rushing, running away. I rode yesterday and 2-pointed the canter both ways, and he seemed much happier. Is that a good place to start?
Exactly, because if you've changed the saddle, he's going to have some muscle memory and think, oh my God. And so you've got to just lighten the load up there and let him really come over his back. And he needs to feel his back in a different way and know that it doesn't bother him anymore. And so 2 points, great.
Yes. Next question is from Melissa. Any tips to tell if you are sitting straight and centered in the saddle if you are riding in an arena with no mirrors?
Get a friend to look at you.
Or get someone to take pictures or video.
Right. And then you can look at the video later. On your own, it's because it feels right. But just because it feels right doesn't mean it is right. And I was teaching today, and when she sat crooked on the right in her mind, she was actually straight. What you can do, though, is you can stand in front of your mirror at home, in the bathroom, in the hallway, wherever you've got a mirror, and you close your eyes and you stand in the mirror. And with your eyes closed, feel yourself straight, and then open your eyes and look in the mirror and see if you're actually straight.
Yes, because often you think you're straight when you're not. The only thing that...
Just because you're familiar with that feeling doesn't mean it's the right feeling.
Yeah. The only thing that you can do is just keep checking in with your seat bones and make sure you can feel even weight in your seat bones and even weight in your stirrups. That's the one thing that you can do, but definitely picture or video. Okay, next question. This is a good question. How do you stay motivated as you move up the levels? My horse lives at home. I haul in for lessons. Everything has been going fine until this year. We'll be competing at I1, but feeling very unmotivated and disconnected. I'm showing in 2 weeks.
That is a whole... So, is the I1 a big leap? Are you uncomfortable showing the I1? So we're hesitant? But just to answer the first question is how to stay motivated. I always just kind of think about the fun I have riding. It doesn't really matter what I'm doing. I'm on a horse riding, and that's a good day. And then everything else is just gravy. I mean, everything else is icing on the cake. But if I'm on my horse, everything's fine.
Yeah. I think that's really important, is that as much as we have goals and we want to move up the levels and we want to show, is like, remember your why. Like, why do you have horses? Why do you ride? And it was funny. I was talking to this lady this week about like competing and kind of the emotional side of that and what my goals were. And she was like, okay, so you make it to the Olympics. Like, so then what? How does that change you? How does that change your life or your happiness? And the reality of it is, it doesn't. Like, if you go to the show and you do well, great, congratulations. If you go to the show and you do badly, okay, like, it doesn't change anything. It's still your horse and the process, and the show is just kind of the recognition side of it, but it shouldn't change your relationship with your horse. And even when you're at a show, it should still be about like, I love my horse, I'm proud of my horse, I'm excited to be here. That's all it's about.
I know every time I go down the center line and I'm going to make that turn, and the last thing I tell it, myself and my horse, like, we're just going horseback riding. Whatever. I'm just riding my horse.
Look, Kina says, hey, it's Herman, our hero.
Oh, thank you very much.
Comment in the chat if you think Herman is our hero. I'm so happy that you're finally coming on Facebook Live. Okay, here's a question from Facebook user. Any tips to help a Frisian collect the canter? I've been trying, and I think it means walk or trot. Somehow I'm shutting him down.
I would be thinking maybe gallop down the long side and make a circle at the end.
Yeah, use the circle to collect him.
Yeah, and that way, and then eventually those aids the horse will be like, oh, I'm collecting, and those are those aids they use, because on the circle I collected, but I would really go boldly down the long side and then make a circle at the end.
I think it's also important, what is the definition of collection? It's not slowing down. It's quicker, active, more
shorter, higher.
Yeah. And so
shorter, higher. So your brain has got to go fast.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's shorter, higher. The stride gets shorter, higher. So your brain has got to go faster. So, but anyway, that's how I would do it. I would be thinking boldly down the long side, and like a 12-meter circle. Maybe 10 is too much, but you want to be between 10 and 15 so that the size of the circle really helps get the horse's weight back onto the hind legs.
Okay, next question from Patty. I've been so frustrated with the contact. One trainer says take firm contact and get the neck down. Another says let the horse go out to the contact, but don't force the neck position. My 6-year-old pulls down and then lifts his neck up, then repeat. I want to keep the slack out, but when the neck comes up, my elbows go backwards. Never had a horse take such inconsistent contact before. Thoughts?
Read that again.
Okay, frustrated with contacts. One trainer says take firm contact, get the neck down. Another trainer says let the horse go out of contact, but don't force neck position. My 6-year-old pulls down, then lifts his neck up, then repeat.
So I'm in agreement with the don't force the head position, because then you're going to get into a fight, right? But you have to have a contact. You can't have the slack rein and let the thing just put his head wherever he wants. And it's the right amount where you can keep the horse in a horizontal balance, right? And so if his head flies up and you keep a contact, I'm kind of all right with that. If he goes down, not so good with that. You want to keep that horizontal balance, because if he curls, then he's going to get on the forehand, and then it's just going to be difficult to fix that. So curling low is not a good thing. Horizontal, nose slightly out on the bit, that's okay. But yeah, if you if you lock your hands down and they're immovable, then you're not, there's an oscillation to the horse's neck in the walk and in the canter, and in the trot too, just not as much. And if you don't allow for that oscillation, then the horse develops a weird mechanic. So it isn't for, I mean, I don't force a horse's head in a particular position. That roundness is a natural result of a horse that's going forward and supple on the bit. And then it starts to understand half halts and stuff. And so it will get round just by going correctly. It's not a force trick thing where I jam my hand down and bend my horse, and so then his head goes down. So you want to have that elastic feel, put a boundary to how low he can go. And if he comes up and he still holds the bit, just ride forward, get him to the contact. He will come through, go to the bit, and then lower as a natural course of learning what the aids mean.
Yeah.
That's a very Reader's Digest version of a very complicated thing.
Yes, contact connection is so hard. For those of the students that are in the training scale masterclass, we're talking about contact and connection, and we're doing it over 2 weeks because it is so complicated and so hard. And the thing about contact is that it's always a reflection, like what you feel in your hand is a reflection of the hind leg and the back. So in that situation, if your horse is like down and up and all over the place, they're not using their back.
And the tempo is probably slow, fast, because it isn't 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah. And I also think that a really good thing to help with that is inside leg to outside rein. That will help to engage the inside hind leg and to minimize the like down and up and down and up.
Right, because when you get the access in through the rib cage, then the horse can come through, right? When they're braced in the ribs, all that energy gets just blocked and it doesn't end up in your hand.
Someone's asking, where's Levi? He's really hot today.
He's on the ground.
You might be able to see his foot there. There's Levi. Levi, they're wondering where you are. Okay, poor Levi. He really doesn't like the heat. And I left him in the car this morning. Like the windows were all open while I was teaching a lesson, and he like vomited all over my back seat. It was so bad. And the poor kid at the barn, we paid him $10 to clean my back seat.
Oh wait, I'm not in the picture anymore.
So yeah, he did a really good job though. So, but yeah, poor Levi. He doesn't like the heat.
Yeah, the heat is, well, for all of you guys that are in the heat east of us, oh man, it's a drainer, isn't it? You get up early and you got to get them done early because man, that heat that's no joke.
Yes, it was hot today. Okay, here's a question from Brooke, and I think she's here. So she says, I'm an experienced rider, having done fox hunting, show jumping, trail riding, but I'm completely new to dressage. My new horse is a 17-hand, very powerful schoolmaster, and the person I'm riding with is afraid he might run away with me. So how do you suggest is the best for me to begin to canter in an indoor arena?
Well, if you're in an indoor arena, you've got it made, because if he does kick up his heels and take off, just ride quiet. Like Mark Twain said, if they're running you out of town, get in front and make it look like a parade. So if he kicks up his heels, Pee Wee Herman in his movie, he said, I meant to do that when he wipes out on the bicycle. You have to have the attitude of, right, I wanted to do this. And the horse goes around and then he goes, oh, okay, what now? Because it'll go half a circle, 2 circles around. But if you're in an indoor and he takes off, just pretend you wanted to do that.
Okay, that's his answer. That's the male version.
He'll make a circle or 2 and then he'll be with you.
Oh, it's true. Ask on a circle. Ask as you come towards the rail. Like if you're really nervous about it, have your trainer put you on a lunge line to start with. That might help. And sit back, keep your hands down. That's my advice.
But she did say she's ridden before, right? She's jumped and done some stuff. That's not like, I mean, I wouldn't suggest that for a brand new beginner. I mean, because, when horses go fast, that's a kind of an eye-opening experience, but it seemed like she had ridden some.
Oh, look, Kina says Pee Wee was my hero. She must have known Pee Wee. Who's Pee Wee?
Pee Wee Herman was he
No.
was a comedian.
Oh, I thought you meant Pee Wee your horse. Pee-wee.
No, not Pee Wee my horse. Pee Wee Herman.
Tell them about Pee Wee your horse.
Pee Wee was 17-1 and he was a stallion. He was like a bright, brand new penny. He was so shiny, and he was quite difficult. It's enough to be said about that.
Okay.
But Pee Wee Herman, he had a Pee Wee's Big Top Adventure or something. Anyway, he crashes and he jumps up and he says, "I meant to do that." And your horse doesn't know the difference. See, that's the point of the story, is that if you act like you wanted to, the horse doesn't know that he got away with anything. If you make it an issue and then you start grabbing and pulling and I didn't want that, now you've got an issue.
Okay. Yeah, she says, your husband's answer made me laugh. I have suggested bending on the lunge line. I would begin on the lunge line and then try his answer once you feel a little bit more confident. Because there definitely is an element, like if you get scared, your horse is going to get scared. But if your horse goes a little fast and you just sit up there and you're like, okay, I'm going to sit back. We're going to stay on the circle. This is fine. I'm going to breathe. Then your horse will start to relax. And so you have to just always like force yourself to stay calm, even if you're afraid, which is not the easiest thing. Okay. Next question is from Sophie. My 9-year-old mare is wonderful once warmed up, but starts out almost lazy and dull. Do you have any advice on warm-up patterns or exercises that would help to get her hotter, off the leg sooner in our rides? I don't want to get in the habit of nagging her and making it worse. Some people tell me to take up contact sooner, and some say to stretch her longer. Thanks.
Read again. I was reading these. What happened?
You always do that. Okay, so her horse is lazy in the warm-up and kind of dull. Warm-up patterns or exercises that would help her get in front of the leg sooner. Some people tell me to take up more contact. Others say stretch her longer.
I would be just a horizontal balance and lengthen and circle and lengthen and circle. Straight lines help the forward. Curve lines help the bend. So if it's going kind of slow, I'd be on some straight lines. If it gets stiff, then make a circle, but get on a straight line and go.
Yeah.
And just an elastic feel that's in a horizontal balance. When the horse is really starting to go forward, then you can take it a bit more.
But yeah, sometimes with horses that are lazy, if you try to stretch them too much at the beginning, like you don't have enough energy, and so then they kind of just
get on the forehand.
Yeah.
And even sluggish, even more sluggish.
But I would recommend transitions are a really good way to get your horse more in front of the leg, like walk, trot, walk, or even walk, halt, walk. I also find that horses that are a little lazy, if you take them like on a little hack first, or if you can walk them around the property, like outside of the arena.
Yeah, that's true. Because then they get a little more stimulated mentally because they're not inside going, oh my God, this again.
Yeah. Or sometimes even just a little thing like putting a pole in the arena and just like trotting or cantering over the pole, that can be a good way to motivate a horse that's a little bit on the lazier side.
Do you want to answer this one?
Oh yeah, we have a question. What's the highest level of competition you've done? Are you answering first?
So in dressage, I've ridden the Grand Prix on 2 horses, and you've made 5 of them now,
something like that.
And then eventing, the highest I did was prelim. So hope that helps make you think that we actually know something about what we're talking about.
Yeah, the Grand Prix is hard. It's like a whole different sport when you get to the Grand Prix level. And I remember my first Grand Prix horse, Trump, and I trained Trump. Like I was the first one to ever sit on him. And I got him all the way to the Grand Prix. But when I did like the Prix St. George and the I-1, I was getting like high 60s. And I went out and I did my first Grand Prix and I was like getting 55%. And it was very sobering for sure. And just like trying to get the 60% again was a challenge.
It's difficult. And whoever made the Facebook user with the bending of the horse rib, yes, that's quite correct. That's a good answer there.
Okay, good. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? Here's one more. Maggie, you have seen me with Eli, Andalusian Thoroughbred recovering from Lyme. We've improved rhythm, working on suppleness and contact. He wants to fall out on his right shoulder through the turns. So when she's turning left, wants to fall right. When I ride and ask him to stack up on all fours, he becomes annoyed. I can ride him through it, but it can be difficult. I realize when doing groundwork, he wants to fall in on the right. I ended up holding my whip in the middle so I could easily tap both his shoulder and his flank. It seemed to help, but is there another way? Do you have an answer for her?
I was reading these questions. What happened?
Oh my God.
There's just so much stuff on the screen.
Apparently you have ADD. Okay, so I'll answer then.
Okay.
A lot of horses fall to the right. That's like the most normal thing because most horses are weaker in the right hind leg. So when you're going to the left and trying to turn to the left, they're like really bulging out to the right.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to turn right, they're falling in on the right shoulder. So definitely, I think that doing it groundwork is really helpful to supple that right side and teach the horse to move away from your right leg. So keep doing that, and whatever you're doing with the whip to make him move over, get the reaction, get him to move over, reward, repeat. And then when you're riding, what I would recommend doing, like you said, he gets kind of annoyed, lots of changes of direction. So if I have a horse that like I can't turn left, like it really bulges left, what I do is I turn, keep turning. And when the horse finally like gives in and turns left, then I go to the right and I turn to the right. And when the horse turns to the right, then I turn to the left again. And I just do kind of this like unplanned serpentine to just teach the horse basically turn a little, give, turn a little, give. Do you agree?
I do. And that actually answers this question.
No one can see you pointing to the screen. What's her question?
I'm working on tension issues, and I can't even, was it Evander?
With my horse.
Ollivander. What's the name?
Ollivander.
I'm working on tension issues with my horse, and we're losing points on tests because he's not stretching fully in our free walk. Any tips? What she just said about the random serpentine, because that sounds like the horse is stiff straight and not supple straight. So you want to do that serpentine, obviously not at the test, but at home, you want to do a serpentine at the walk so that you can get that suppleness. And you just do a little snaky turn and get access into the rib cage, get that inside hind leg moving over into the outside rein, and that'll supple him up. So that your answer for that also answered that, I thought.
Excellent. All right, everyone. We have a lot of packing and preparing to do for our big sailing adventure.
Yes.
Hopefully the boat doesn't break. I'll take some video if we have to get rescued.
We never had to get
rescued.
Had to get rescued. We were fine.
The boat with the sirens and the flashing lights came and towed us back in. It's somewhere on my YouTube channel. If you guys are feeling really bored, go on my YouTube channel like many, many years ago, and there's a video of us getting towed in on the sailboat. So
I know it was my friend Brian, who works for Towboat. My friend Brian, and he's just a wonderful guy. And he got the recall, and he goes, "I knew it was you." And there we were, and we were fine. It was the engine failed, and there was very light wind, and so we were going to be sailing a long time.
We were floating.
Yeah, we were floating. Basically, there wasn't wind anyway.
But it's hard for me to leave the horses, but sometimes it's good because it makes me appreciate my horses. So
if all goes well, we'll see you guys next week.
Good night, everyone.